Hello, everyone. This is the second intermediate milestone, and I'm going to go real quick on what I did before and kind of go more in depth on new features. So I added a menu page. This is going to be redone, but the logic is here that I'm going to be able to make drums and have a synth page, and I could return to the menu. And so I have 8 different rows, and they all pertain to a different sound, and these pertain to a different beat in the music. So the more to the right you go, the farther it is in the musical phrase. So if I was to play this measure, you would hear the sequence of notes. And then I can add the drums, add a snare wherever I want. So and now I have a page where I can load different sound clips. So let's say I want to load a cowbell, and this replace the bass with this one. So now it'll sound like. And I can add a cowbell. All right, so I guess I didn't load it, but I'm gonna put it here. So now I can copy this measure and put it in the second pattern right here and paste it. So this drum kit is stock because I didn't modify it. And you hear this, the second crash cuts out because the measure ends, but this one, it extends to the next note. So if I was to add 2 in a row, this one would cut before that one could play. Hard to hear. And now I can modify this kit separately. So So if you're wondering where these sound kits came from, Neptune's like a band. The Pharrell's in it. It's a group more so than a band. And Lex Luger is a music producer. He produces like trap or rap, so that's why it kind of sounds like rap. So the second pattern will be different than the first. So I'm going to play both of them together. So you get the idea of the kits, and now I can save this kit right here, the save kit button. So kit 1, I saved over the stock by accident, which doesn't matter. I have it twice, and I could always resave a stock if I realize I did that. But so now this kit right here is stock because I haven't modified it, but I can load the other one I have here. So, and then for this one, I can save the pattern 1, save the kit, and load it to pattern 4. Which is almost stock, but so here it is, the whole thing. So when I toggle all these, then they'll all play. I have no logic in here, so I'm just gonna paste it. I'm gonna add stuff here just so it sounds different. So you get the idea. It's kind of fun to mess around. And later I'm going to kind of introduce a teaching page, because this is a drum page. I'm going to introduce a teaching page to kind of demonstrate, if you have no experience with music theory, where each note sounds better, and kind of the logic and the ideas of music theory. So how long each notes last, and where you want them, and how to make musical patterns. And I'm going to have a bunch of presets later. That's what I'm working on this week. And I have a melody page. So right now it's pretty bare bones. What I do have implemented is I can pick a root note and the type of key, the type of scale rather, and load it. So then the program will tell you what's in the C major. So if you know music theory, you know there's no accidentals, which are sharps, C sharp, D sharp. It's all the white keys in a piano, if you think of it that way. Same with A minor is the same, but let's say I load a C sharp major, then it's all accidentals. All the accidentals are played, and I could do C sharp minor, or a blues scale, pentatonic. If you play guitar or you just know music theory, you know pentatonics have 5 different notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so here's a pentatonic F, and I can play the notes on different octaves. So F4 sounds like this, F2. It's playing for, right now I have it playing for one beat. So if I change the BPM, it's going to be quicker. Oh, actually, I have the BPM saved to 60 right now. I don't have it reading the game BPM. And I'll show you that later in the code, but the drums are linked. So if I play this faster, it'll sound like this. And I showed that more in the first Milestone. So there's nothing new there. So I am gonna have a learning page to kind of demonstrate so I'm balancing learning digital audio workstations, which look more like this, like a drum sequencer. And I'm going to teach a little music theory. Over here, you could kind of see kind of a slight amount of music theory here. and then I'm going to go more in depth. And then I thought of the idea to kind of teach the how the frequencies and music theory has a relation to math. Because when I was creating this, I saw the overlap with the note intervals and everything, and I thought it would be pretty cool. So if you are into music, but you don't know the math side of frequency, a little signal processing, then there'll be some to learn. And if you do know math and you don't know music, you could learn either side. And if you don't know how to do, if you've never worked with a digital audio workstation like Fruity Loops, then there'll be something to learn there. And I'm going to have ear training mode where we'll have different intervals, and you can pick the different intervals so it'll kind of test you. So let's say I play like a C3 and a F3, so that's a perfect fourth interval. So I'm going to have it playing, and then the user can guess the interval. Well, not guess, select the interval, and then the game will tell you if it's right or wrong. And that's to do ear training. So that's what I have so far, and that's what I'm going to do moving forward. Right now, I'm just going to show a little bit of the code. So I'm going to move this over. Someone asked me in the last milestone if I could kind of talk about how it's made technically. So I'm just making sure it's capturing it properly, because I'm screen recording right now. So the hierarchy of the classes, it's pretty big, because you could imagine I've been doing this for 2 months, so there's a whole bunch of classes. So to go through everything will be pretty tedious, and if you don't care, just you could stop the video now. But if you are interested, I'll kind of go through it really, really briefly. And I am posting the GitHub repository. It's public, so you could go ahead, clone it, and mess around with it yourself. You do need to install Pygames, and you do need to install PyDub is a library that I use. And besides that, like, I don't use SciPy or anything. It's just 2 libraries, and then I played it on a Raspberry Pi. It worked. So I'm sure any computer could run this. So I start the game main, and then I just call it game class, which does most of the initializing. It's called Pygame init. And this just sets up a main menu class, so it jumps right into the main menu. And I fill with light purple. I declare all the variables, so how many measures. Actually, no, that's in the drum main. So drum main, I start how many measures, how many columns. That can all change dynamically is how I programmed it, but I decided I didn't want to take away or add instruments in game. It didn't really serve any purpose for the user. And so then the game will run. So if the drum menu is there's two pages for the drum menu. There's the modify the drums, and there's a sequencer. So on the drum page, you see both of those, and the toolbar kind of overlaps for that. You could see over here the toolbar here. There's some things that stay, some things that don't. And so I'll just kind of explain one thing that's kind of cool, is how the music is played, which kind of gives you an idea of how the whole game works besides the GUI. So I take the states of So you could either play one or play all. So if you remember, there's well, I shooed away the screen, so I can't open it right now, but without starting over. But that's fine. You could play one pattern or play them all with the green toggle things below. Select which one to play. And so if you play one or play all, it's almost the same thing. It's just a for loop you add to. This is play all, so it just does it as many times as the toggle state is on. So it takes the states of all the buttons and it makes a grid. So either 1 or 0, and I just see how long the beat is. I take a beat, so the BPM divided, it's 60 beats per second, and then a millisecond, and I do it 4 times because that's the division. There's 4 divisions in a measure, and that's the beat in milliseconds. And then I count how many gaps there is in between each beat. So if there's 2 red boxes, then there's no gaps. But if there's a red box on the first beat and a red box on the last one, then there's 15 gaps. And I see if the sound is as long as if the sound can play in the whole entirety of the gap it has between the next note. And if it doesn't, I just trim it so it won't go into the next beat. So if it's played twice in a row and the sound clip is very long, then I'll play as much as it can to the next one. If that makes sense. It'd be easier if I could pull up the game, but I messed up while recording this. I kind of moved the box off screen. Oh, here it is. I found it. So let me explain that. So I'm going to go here and clear this and make this BPM really slow, so each note will last longer. So this is a quick sound. So it could, obviously this note can play completely before the next time, but I have some longer things. So I have these African drums, which is almost like, it's very long. This might be the longest thing I have, so. Oops, I just messed up. So it sounds like this. So since it's going very slowly at 60 beats per second, it can play till its entirety. But if I play one after the next, then it won't play twice. The next one will cue it and the first one will clip. And if I make the BPM really fast, then neither of them can finish. So I don't have a really good way to like boost the BPM, but when you're making music, you're never gonna go over 180. Really, if you do something like double time in like a really fast music type like drum and bass, then maybe you can go to the 300s, but it doesn't really make sense. So before it could play out in its entirety, but now it doesn't, but that way it stays in beat. So that's kind of the logic of the play button. And then I can do play all and I'll grab everything And it's going really fast, so it's going to sound funny. So it sounds terrible, but you get the idea of what's going on. And that's what I have so far. So leave me feedback on what you think. If you have any questions on how to install the repository yourself, it's pretty straightforward installing it. But if you want to play around with it and let me know if you like it, if you hate it, let me know. Thanks for watching.